Let's learn a shtickle Toldos Shimshon on Perekei Avos, Perik Aleph, Mishnah Dalet. Yosi ben Yezer, ish trade oime. Yosi ben Yezer, ish trade says, Ye beischo beisvad lechachomim. Your house, your home should be a meeting place for chachomim, for talmidei chachomim, and v'havim misavik ba'afar ragleim. You should roll in the dust of their feet, which Pashup Pshat means you should go after them, you should go to them to learn. You should go to the Talmidei Chacham to learn from them. V'haveshoyse batzoma es devreim, and you should drink with thirst their words. The Torah that they teach you, you should accept like someone drinks when he's thirsty. So the Toldos Shimshon asks, first of all, what's the connection between these three things that he taught us? And also he asks, what's the chiddush of the Mishnah v'havim misavik ba'afar ragleim, that we should roll in the dust of the chachamim, of the feet of the chachamim, which means you should go after them to learn. It's a pasuk. The pasuk in Mishlei says, hoylech es chachamim yechkom. If you go after the chachamim and you learn by them, you'll become a Talmid Chacham. So what's our Mishnah teaching us? So says the Toldos Shimshon that our Mishnah is based on a sugya in Baba Basra of Archokas Nezikin. That we know that when there are two neighbors living next to each other, so the halacha is that the neighbors have to make sure that they don't cause damage to their neighbor. For example, if someone has a window open into his neighbor's courtyard, the halacha is he has to close up that window, because through having that window open that can look into his neighbor's courtyard, he's damaging his neighbor, that now his neighbor can't use that courtyard to do his private things. So that's called Archokas Nezikin. You have to distance yourself from causing damage to your neighbor. Now the halacha is that if, when you opened that window, your neighbor was quiet, that showed that he didn't care and he was moichel. Then the halacha is that later on he can't come and say that I want you to close your window, you're causing me damage. Then he should have made a macha right away. From the fact that he was quiet is a raya that he's not makbet, and therefore you're allowed to keep it open. However, there are certain damages, certain nezikin, that even if he was quiet, it's automatic that the person is makbet. For example, there's a case of a kivshon. Someone has a furnace that makes a lot of smoke, and the smoke is going into the neighbor. Over there, even if the neighbor was quiet at the beginning, but it's obvious nobody could withstand smoke coming into the courtyard or into the house, and therefore even if he was quiet, you have to take it away. He could come later and say that he's makbet. Or there's other examples of dust. If your neighbor is doing things that cause a lot of dust, then again you could come and say, even though I was quiet, but I can't withstand this dust, and therefore it's pashut that you have to take away whatever is causing the dust. In the poskim they have another example. If your neighbor opens a store and the store causes people to come in and go out, nechnosim v'yotzim, so it causes a big tumult, and it makes a koil, and he could say, I can't sleep. But you opening your store in next door to me, that's causing that I can't sleep, and it's making too much noise. And that's also a type of hezek that even if he was quiet at the beginning, but he could come later and say that you have to take it away, because it's causing me too much damage. I can't live normally in my house by you having your store open right next door to me. So it's causing a big tumult. And that's obvious. Even if he was quiet, then he can't say that you are moichel, and you have to take it away. Now there's one exception. It says in Shulchan Aruch that if a cheder that teaches tenoikis, young children, opens next door to you, over there, even though there's a koil, it's loud, and the children are learning Torah, over there, you can't make a macha, because There was takana from Yeshua ben Gamla that every city has to have a cheder that teaches children Torah, and therefore, even though it's causing you damage and it's making a coil and there's noise and it's hard to live there, but you have to let them. But there's a machlokes. How about older Talmidei Chacham, not children? The takana of Yeshua ben Gamla was only for children, that every city had to have a cheder to teach children. But how about older Talmidei Chachamim, a yeshiva or a koil or a shul next door to you? So over here there's already a machlokes if you can make a macha or not. So based on this on this Gemara, on all these halachas of Harchochas Nezikin, comes our Mishnah and says as follows: Yehi beischa beis vad lechachamim. If you're zoiche, then you should actually bring the Talmidei Chachamim in your house to learn. That's if you're zoiche, and if they want to come learn in your house, they want to come learn by you. Of course, you should teach them Torah in your house. Yehi beischa beis vad lechachamim. Your house should be a gathering place for Chachamim, for older Talmidei Chachamim. Now, how about if they don't come to you to learn, but they go to your neighbor, and they want to learn by your neighbor? So here we come to the question that if your neighbor is going to have a yeshiva, which is going to cause you damage, and over here we said there was a machlokes apoiskim, if you can make a macha, if there will be children learning there, so then you can't make a macha. You have to have a cheder open in your city. But chachamim, which is referring to Talmidei Chacham older, over here there was already a question in the poskim: could you make a macha? So our Mishnah is telling you, go like those shitas that let your neighbor have a place for Talmidei Chacham to learn. But you're going to come with a taina and say, but it's causing me a lot of damage, because first of all, people are coming in and out, and it's bringing a lot of dust. Like the Gemara says in Ksubis, that when the Talmidim of Rav Huna, when they finished learning, after the shir, there was so many Talmidei Chachamim that got up at one time, when they brushed off their clothing, it brought dust, a huge cloud of dust that it made the day dark. It took away the light. That's how much dust came up from when the Talmidei Chachamim finished learning. So if you're going to have a yeshiva next door to you, that Talmidei Chachamim are coming in to learn, that's going to cause you damage. It's going to gather dust and raise dust and noise. So comes our Mishnah and says, "V'havim es avik b'afar ragleim." You should roll in their dust, meaning to say you should be happy when you have a yeshiva next door to you. Why? Because the klal is toiv le'tzadik, toiv l'shcheina. You'll gain from it by having a yeshiva next door to you. You're going to gain when there's Torah being learned next door to you. Then you're going to gain off it. It rubs off on you. So even though maybe there's a tzad in the poskim that you could make a macha, but our Mishnah is telling you, go with that shita that don't make a macha, and be quiet and actually enjoy it. Even though the yeshiva next door to you is bringing dust into the area, and it's stirring you, it's disturbing you, but you should enjoy it, and you should be quiet. And not only then the Mishnah adds on, not enough that you should be quiet, but you should even, you should actually go there to learn Torah from them. Why is that? Because there was a tzad in the poskim that even things that you could make a macha, and by being quiet is not a raya that you maskim, but if you do an action that shows that you agree to them having yeshiva, then there's a sheet in the poskim that say then you can never make a macha. That means even on those things that we said that you could always make a macha and say, now it's disturbing me, even though I was quiet at the beginning, now I decide I can't handle it anymore. There are certain things, like we said, dust and the smoke and these things that disturb you. You could come later and say that I'm makbet. But there's some shittas in the poskim that if you do an action to show that you agree and you're giving them a matana that they could open a yeshiva next door to you, then later on you can never come and make a macha. And therefore over here the Mishnah is saying, Not enough that you're quiet and you let your neighbor open a yeshiva next door, but you should actually go there and drink their words with thirst. And that shows that you're giving them a matana. You're doing an action by saying that I'm asking for the yeshiva to be here. I myself am joining the learning and the yeshiva. And then later on you can never come and back out. That's what our mission is based on, and that's the hemshech of all these three things. The best would be if you could have a yeshiva in your own house. If you don't have a yeshiva in your house, but your neighbor has, don't come with the taina that they're causing dust and dirt to come into your house. You should roll in their dust. You should be happy that the yeshiva is next to you, because toiv l'tzadik, toiv l'shcheinoi. And more than that, you yourself should participate in their learning. Therefore, you're showing them that you're giving them a matana biyadayim, that they could have a yeshiva there. This way you can never back out. In the schus of the Zera Shimshon, may we all have brocha and atzlocha b'chol ha'inyonim.